My name is Louis. I'm from Switzerland. I've been living in New York now for the past 12 years. I have a background in anthropology and in musicology. I spent some time working for nonprofits and for NGOs. Then I went to higher education. I did my PhD here in the US and I graduated in 2021. After that, I've been trying to transition to the industry, to the UX research. I also try to do some project management. Not very, and yeah, after 2 years of trying to set foot into the industry, I decided that I needed some help. And this is when Q came into the picture. I met her through a friend. It was a very random thing. I always thought that maybe getting help would be a good idea, but when you are online, you're on LinkedIn, a lot of people offer help. It's really hard to know who is good at it and and in October I was really struggling with my applications and everything. I gave up a number of times and I was talking to a friend who's been in UX research for many years. I asked her, I said, maybe I need to hire someone to take a look at my resume once again. You've been at it for 2 years, you haven't succeeded and it's taking a toll on you. I know this person that I met, but she said, I have this friend who started a coaching program. Maybe I can put you in touch with her if you're interested. The fact that she knew her, this friend is somebody that I trust immensely. And the fact that she recommended was like, it was a stamp of approval. I was like, okay, I can trust her.
Can you tell me a little bit about what challenges you were facing before discovering the program, your experiences in the job search and what you tried before and your mindset?
Yeah, I became aware of UX research as a field pretty late, like the spring of 2022. A friend who studied with me in my program in anthropology posted on LinkedIn that she started a position at Bank of America. And I was baffled because I was like, why do you work in a bank? You studied anthropology. That is so strange to me. And she introduced me to the idea of UX. And I was like, okay, that sounds like exactly what I need. So I started applying to jobs. I got quite good traction right away. It was June 2022. I scored a few interviews. I went to the final round of one interview at American Express. It seemed like it was just going to happen anytime. And then the summer passed. I didn't score anything. And then things went downhill from there. The market was really bad. And I didn't score a single interview for maybe almost a year. I would put a lot of energy into it for a few weeks and then give up. But after a couple of years, I reached a point where you don't know anymore what's right and what's wrong. People are very willing to help. People are very supportive, I have to admit. What works for somebody doesn't necessarily work for you. And you keep changing one thing on your resume, and then you change another thing, and then you work on your LinkedIn profile, and no changes were happening really. And so I just started feeling, wait, am I actually pursuing the right career? Maybe it's just not for me. So I just started doubting myself a lot, and I was caught up in this cycle of being defeated, having a low self-esteem, and seeing a very bleak future. Basically, oh, I have spent 12 years studying. I have an undergrad, I have a master, I have a PhD from an Ivy League. What is it that I can't get a job with that? Okay, granted, I'm trying to do some kind of transition here. I'm not trying to be a professor, which would be almost easier at this point. But what is it that I'm so unattractive for anybody on the job market? And so I think that meeting Q changed things in many ways. Not only she gave me a structure and a system to apply to jobs that seem to be working, it's happening. And also she gave me like a community. There's other people who are on the program and it's great to meet them and it's great to feel that we are all going through this together. You feel less alone. And I think most of all, she gives us, all of us in the program, a sense of worth and of hope. Suddenly I was like, oh wow, actually there's a way to get a job. I can get a job. It's not about me. It's the market. It's about how I go about it. And I knew that somehow, but you need somebody to really prove it to you and to tell you in your face, hey, you can do this. Don't worry. It's not for you. You just don't know how to go about it. And the way you go about it is necessarily not correct, but it's also not efficient and you are burning yourself down. So that was really important for me. And I think that there's also a moment when you've tried many different things and nothing has worked. You need someone to take your hand and be like, hey, let me show you how to do this. Just come with me, do that. Don't think too much about it. And I think this is what was key for me, is that I have a tendency to overthink every single step. This is just how I am. And at that point, I was so lost, and Q was there. Any kind of doubt that I might have on my material, my documents, on the way I'm going to present myself in an interview, instead of always trying to second guess and ask people their opinion. But at the same time, people who are your friends who are employed, they're not looking for a job. So they don't even know what the market is really. And so that was really a game changer with Q.
What was it that made you choose this program? First of all, tell me about the experiences that because you'd been in other programs, right?
So I did one program before we related, that was the year before. I was following her on LinkedIn. She was giving tips that I found useful, and it did provide me with some kind of structure and community, but it wasn't custom made enough for me. I think I needed, at that point, I was already pretty burned out, and I needed someone to be a lot more proactive and involved in my process. Like, I want to get to the heart of the matter as soon as possible. And when I met Q, she's not trying to like overdo this. Like, she's not trying to sell me. Like, it's very straightforward. Let's get a job in tech. Boom, that's it. Take it or leave it. And when we talked, what was very encouraging to me and reassuring about her is that it wasn't about getting me into the program. It was about assessing whether I was a good fit for the program. And that made all the difference to me. She's very careful, and she creates really her program in a certain way, and she knows that the program is not for everyone. She was taking her time, which I really appreciated too. She didn't rush me. And then at the end she said, I think I can help you, but mind you, it's a really tough market right now. She came across as honest.
Was there any hesitations that you had before anything that came up in terms of fear, and how did you move through that?
Yeah, for me, the biggest fear was the financial investment, basically. Like, it was an important financial investment for me. When you're looking for a job for 2 years and somebody tells you, hey, in 3-4 months, I can get you a job. Why would you trust? How do you believe them? It's hard. So I decided, I was like, it looks like the stars have aligned. Like, I met this friend tells me about Q. Q talks to me, I connect right away with her, everything seems right. And I thought, at this point, I have like very little to lose because nothing has worked and I'm just stuck and losing more every day. So I was like, just take the plunge, just go for it. I guess I'm committed to this now. Boom, and I did it. Yeah, I think something that comes to mind now is that one thing that is very special about Q is that she's very opinionated. So if you ask her a question, she's never gonna say, yeah, maybe you could do it like this or like that. She usually has a very specific answer. She'll be like, no, don't do this, do it that way. And I think that when you're stuck and you lost self-confidence, this is what you want. You want somebody to basically tell you, hey, yeah, do this. Trust me, don't worry about it, do this. And that's why it's been really great for me.
And tell me a little bit more about the confidence piece. Like, where were you before you met Q, and where do you feel your confidence is at now?
Before meeting Q, every few months we review your ambitions, and you think, okay, am I applying to jobs that are too ambitious for me? Am I expecting a salary that is unreasonable or things like that? And then you start doubting everything. Was I wrong to do a PhD in that topic? Was I wrong to go to Brown? Was I wrong to move to the US? Everything is endless. And I think that what happened is that you stop seeing possibility. Like, everything seems, okay, I have a wall in front of me and this is what I'm gonna get. I'm not gonna get any better than that. And the jobs I was applying, I was way overqualified, which is fine. Everybody's okay to be overqualified for a position for a while, but like when I say way overqualified, it was way overqualified. And the money was not good. So even if I was gonna get those jobs, I wouldn't have been happy, but I wasn't even getting an interview for those jobs. And I still can't quite explain exactly why, but I think that when you lose your confidence, people can feel it. There must be something about you they can tell. The way you talk, the way you express yourself through emails and communications. You must send some kind of message. And so that changed everything. Meeting Q, I think one thing that she said that really boosted my confidence when she said, I know you're capable of getting a position because if you weren't, I wouldn't have taken you on board. And that was great to hear. It was like, oh, okay, somebody is putting trust in me. And she has a lot at stake too in the end because she has a coaching program and she wants you to succeed. If you don't get a job, it's not really a good look for her, right? So I thought, okay, if she trusts me, then I can definitely trust myself. And another thing that she said too is that during our discovery call, at the end, I asked her, I said, Q, I have one important question. What happens if I don't get a job by the end of the 3 months? But she said, you have to get a job during that time. There's no plan B. You're going to get a job.
What specific problems has the program helped you solve?
So the program, you have a very systematic way to approach the job search and allows you to stop second guessing. So for me, the problem was I had a number of problems. My resume was not in great shape, or I wasn't sure if it was in great shape or not. Portfolio, the same thing, the LinkedIn profile. So the program helps you sort this out. First, they look at your material and they tell you exactly what you should do for it to be in perfect condition. You define your strategy, how you're going to be marketing yourself for the job search. That was great because it helps you to really go inward and think about what you really want. What do you want people to see in you? What kind of job are you hoping to get? What will make you happy? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? All these things that we can do on our own, but it's much more difficult. You really draws a portrait of you and then design your LinkedIn and your resume according to that. So you're in the best position to present yourself to any potential employers. So that was the first problem that she solved for me. The second problem is having a rigorous methodology to apply to jobs. So I was doing what everybody does, which is you see a job for which you think you might be a good fit and you just apply and you wait to get an answer. That didn't get me anywhere. That's the other way around, where she says you start by making contacts and you grow a network. And then when there is that position that's opening in that company where you know already a few people, you ask them for your support, you get a recommendation letter, a referral, and you apply, and your chances of getting it are much higher. So that's the second problem that she solved. She gave me just a methodology, a way to go about it that I didn't know about. I felt like it gave me a renewed sense of purpose and determination somehow. It's when you're on LinkedIn and you spend hours on end on it and nothing works and you just feel like it's a waste of time and you don't feel driven anymore, to the point that you stop applying altogether. But after talking to her, I felt just super motivated. I was like, okay, I have a goal again. My goal is to get a job within 3 months, and I'm just going to go about it and not think too much about why I did this or that. I'm just going to listen to Q and apply the methodology. So I think this was really a major shift in my head, a mental breakthrough. This is how I would call it.
And what's been the most surprising change that you've experienced?
The most surprising change is to see that I can get traction, actually. Even with my lack of experience and everything, I was able to grow my network really fast. I was able to get people to talk to me and to have coffee chats and informal interviews, which I wasn't really able to get before. I was able to get some referral letters. I started seeing a clear shift where suddenly I started getting calls from recruiters again. I got a couple of interviews. It's bubbling up, it's happening. There is some movement of my page. I can see that people are viewing my page more than before. And actually, I just had the fourth round of interview for a position in a company here this morning. So I'm actually anxiously waiting to see if I made it to the fifth round, which will be the last round. But I basically never made it that far in the interview process for a UX position. So it's very encouraging. And what's encouraging about it is not only that I made it to the fourth round, but also it's a position that is actually very ambitious for me. I was shooting for regular UX position, and this is like a lead user research position. So the title is higher than I wanted, the salary is higher than I wanted, and the company is 15 minutes away from where I live. So it would be perfect in many ways. Now, I really don't know if I'm going to get it. But it's been a great experience so far. I learned a lot. In 2 years, I never managed to get past the first stage of an interview. And I think it goes to show the results are there.
And what advice would you give to someone, Louis, who's considering joining the program?
I want to tell people, look, It is a significant investment, but I want to tell people to really think about what they've been through for the past few weeks or months or years, however long they've been on the job market. For me, at least, it was like 2 years that I've spent looking for a job. It's a lot of energy, it's a lot of money. It impacts your mental health, bank account. Time is passing and you are stagnating. All of this costs you a lot more in the end. My only regret is that if I had known about you 2 years ago, I would have hired her right away and I would have made all that money 20 times fold by now. And it's definitely a worthwhile investment. So I would tell people, don't hesitate, start right away, don't waste more time. And the kind of positions and the kind of salaries that she can help you get, you're not going to regret this again. You're never going to be back. And in fact, I was telling my wife tonight, I never really thought of hiring a coach until October, but now I'm thinking, of course, next time I'm in a situation where I need to rethink my career, I need to do a transition, or I feel stuck, or I feel that I'm not getting the money I deserve, the first thing I'm going to do is hire you to help me do that, because it's just so much easier. And I think that the internet and remote work, it has democratized the application process. It's easy to work from almost anywhere for anybody, but it also made it a lot more competitive. I'm not only in competition with people here in the US, but also with people in India and elsewhere. So how do you navigate this kind of giant global workplace? I think it's like almost impossible. You need experience, you need to know what you're doing. And so from now on, if I need help, I'll definitely hire somebody for it.
And is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience that you haven't already?
Yeah, there's one more thing that I want to say. That's something that is really important to me and that I really appreciate with you is that the way she makes herself available to her clients is unbelievable to me. She really likes what she does. Your success really matters to her, you can tell. And she gives like 200% of herself for that. And when you are in a position like me, this is what you want. And that's how you feel like 100% supported. She'll do whatever she needs to do to make you succeed. Because she really enjoys what she does, and I think this is something that's very important related to the mindset too, is that she turns that into a game. She tells you, look, this is not, just go to the interview and have fun. You're just meeting somebody new, somebody who might be really interesting or not. Just have a good conversation, have fun, and trust the process, see what happens, it's fun. And she convinced me that in the end, this whole interviewing process is a game. If you look at it as a game, it's a lot less stressful. My biggest takeaway from the program is that you should never settle on a maybe. When you do a job search, when you try to connect to people and to get traction, is to ask for what you want, and you want people to tell you yes or no. They're mostly going to say no, but that's great because the more you get, the closer you get to those who are going to say yes. And it sounds very simple like this, but it's so true and something that I didn't really think about before. Like I was scared of asking for what I wanted because I didn't want people to tell me no. But if people don't say no, how can you get to the ones that are going to say yes to you? So this is for me the main takeaway from this program, something that she really, put in my head that I would forever remember. And then successes, so far for me, successes is believing in myself again. That's helped me a lot. And getting an interview and actually going through 4 stages of interview. That's been like a huge success for me for the first time.